Hi, I'm John Goyak, Chairman of the Goyak Group, and I'd like to spend a little time with you today talking about one of our core processes. It's really one of our prestige pieces of the things that we do for our clients, and it's really the root logic behind GamePlan. That's what this is really about. So whether we're using it early in a campaign to really gear up stuff, line up our clients, line up our customers, influence requirements, or farther downstream where we have to really test to make sure that we have it right and we've got our offering balanced correctly in terms of the customer's perceptions. It's really an important process to go through, and it's a logical process that you can use anytime during a procurement, whether it's laying out the grand strategy down to laying out the strategy for a section. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time working this with you. So here we go. So the first thing we start with here is the customer must. Okay, so, excuse my handwriting, but so customer must. Why must? Must is an emotional word. You know, remember, a decision to buy is an emotional decision for the most part. So the important thing is what must this customer have out of our offering, out of this competition, out of this procurement? Because that starts to then connect with what his real buying problems are and why he feels the way he feels about what he has. So it's not just about specs and text and things like that. It really does boil down to human behavior and buying habits. So what we do is we don't use words like some processes use most important requirements. That immediately sends you diving into the spec. And where that's important, most everybody's going to meet the spec because that is the spec. So the question becomes, do I want performance above spec? What really must I have out of this procurement? And so what we do is we brainstorm through these and we identify them and we put them in order. And we pairwise compare to determine what's most important. What must this customer absolutely get out of this procurement? What would he bang his fist on the table and say, don't even show up if you don't come with these goods, brother? That's what we want to dive into, because what happens then, if we put these in the right order, we then can do like an FBI profile, psychological profile of our customer. What's really driving him? But what really drives him is what most people don't do. Again, my handwriting is perfect, right? What are the underlying issues behind each one of those? Where has he been burned before? Why is this so important to him? And only understanding then can you really climb inside your customer's world and really understand the way his worldview works, so that you can either change it or adapt to it or adapt your offering to it. Because that's what's most important, the thing that we do. Is this in section M or L? Is this? Maybe. Probably not. Probably it helps. They've leveled up things to be able to get a procurement out the door. But these are the most important things. This is why customer intimacy, knowing your customer, is really important. And by the way, customer intimacy is the #1 reason people lose. There's some hints here, right? So if I can come up with the 2 to 3 issues that underlie each one of these musts, I now have some really strong patterns, and I can really climb into what's really driving him in his world. And I say, okay, the cool thing about, okay, so what's our approach? Okay, so our approach, what are we gonna do about it? So specifically, and that word is the most important word that we use. Specifically, what am I gonna do about it? So what am I gonna do about it? Why is that the right answer for him? What's the payoff for him? Why does he care? If we can answer that for each of these, relating to each of these cams or his musts in order, I now start to have a very powerful, sort of compelling argument I start to build, right? So if I can specifically do those, and remember, you got to get the payoff. What's in it for him? What are the numbers? What are the dollars? If I don't have those, then it's a bunch of adjectives, and adjectives don't sell. So then moving on here, okay, so I've got my really cool offering, right? Hey, we're gonna win. So you know you don't live in a world alone, right? So there are competitors out there. Competitors are looking at the same customer, they're doing their same interpretation of his issues, and they're coming up with their cool thing. So what are they likely to do? And people say, well, I can't know exactly. Well, you won't know exactly, but what are they likely to do? That's important to understand. So war game it out. Because what happens is, if you sketch this out and you say, okay, well, how do I compare? So you war game back and forth. Okay, you say, oh my God, you know, they got a pretty cool thing there. What can I do to counter that? So you start to really get some context, if you will, competitive context. Because that really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's setting up and understanding the competitive context. Your customer, your competition, where you have room to space to move, where you don't. Sometimes no bid is the right answer, but you'll never get there unless you go through these kinds of diagnostics to really understand where you stand. So then the question becomes, okay, I've got all these things. If I do this, I can beat him. If I do that, I can beat him. So I got a bunch of if-then statements that this will generate. If I have an extra dollar spent, if I could get this teammate, if I could get this guy, this is what I go do. And that then generates your, what we call strategic action plans. Okay, and strategic action plans are very focused, owned, driven by an outcome, a specific outcome that answers this if-then. So this tells you where to focus, because if I focus on anything probably below the third level there, probably wasting my money and my effort. So, but these things need to be very focused. They're very owned. They have outcomes, specific outcomes. If I do this, then that happens. Now, that's in a nutshell, is the game plan logic, if you will. Overarching the game plan process, what would happen would be the other output of this is what we call a customer management plan. And basically what that is, that's a closed loop matrix, if you will, or database that says, okay, I think I know where we are. I know now who are the guys, who are the people that are going to make judgments on me and make decisions about me. What do they believe about this competition, about the world, about us, about our competitors? Okay, what messages do I have to get into them? Okay, not, hey, I love your program. Our CEO's gonna be by tomorrow and tell you how much he loves you. That's not it. What you want to do is you want to be able to go and test and get message into him to show him you're thinking, you've walked in his shoes, you're thinking through his world in his way, and you understand. Because at the end of the day, what's important to a customer? They want to know you got game, that they want to work with you, and that you care. And the only way you can show that you care is when you walk in, you don't ask them, when's the RFP coming out? You walk in with some value in advance. You walk in demonstrating you've thought through their worldview and you've got some solution space that you'd like to talk to them about. Then they'll talk to you. Then they'll start to recognize you as a thought partner. Okay? So the message in, the message is out. What do I need? What do I need from this meeting? You often hear people talk about, well, this is just a glad-handing meeting, or this is just an introductory meeting. There is no such thing as that. You only have one chance to make a first impression, and you better make it big, because you don't know how many other guys are going in. You don't know how many other people have been to see this guy. You don't know. You really don't know. Because he's going to make an absolute judgment of you right then. You walk out with a red, green, blue, or yellow after that first interchange. I would argue after the first 150 milliseconds. So you better show it up ready to play. Okay? So you got the message out. In any commits, what did I tell him I was going to do? If I told him I was going to be back with a white paper, you damn well better be back with that white paper, and you better be early, and it better be good, because again, this is all about the dance, right? This is about setting up the dance, because he's trying to figure out who he's going to take to the dance, and it better be you. So the only way you can make it you is to really manage this space. And sometimes, like I said, it's not a good look. Oftentimes, if you're out far enough in advance, you've got room to change the game. And really, GamePlan was invented to do exactly that, to change the game. We've used it to rebrand clients. We've used it to restructure competitions. We've used it to take competitions off the street. It's a very powerful thing. But again, whether you're the capture manager or you're a section lead or you're just writing a paragraph, if you kind of think through this, I wonder what the customer must have out of this, and why. If you get a big enough why, you really can connect with his motivation, and then you start scoring. That's how you really do connect with a solid offering, and out front enough with a solid campaign, because you'll be able to interact with him with messages and real data and real partnership, if you will, instead of here's my company briefing, here's what we do, we're really interested in your job. So with that, I think pretty much done for today on this one, and we'll be popping these out probably once a week, and they won't be doctored, tutored, whatever. They're just going to be kind of blasts, unedited, and hopefully this will help y'all. Anyway, thank you for your time, and God bless y'all. Take care.